Hello and welcome. As you may have gathered from, the title of this video or the thumbnail, today we're going to be taking a look at some of my old Pokemon cards. Before we, really get into it, I feel a disclaimer is warranted. I am not a collector. I got most of these Pokemon cards when I was between the ages of 4 and 6, and so you may notice some, scratches and bumps and tears around the edges, and, signs that they were well loved by young me. I think Gus Johnson just put out a video where he, makes a joke out of how we all treated our Pokemon cards when we were younger, not knowing that someday they would be worth, tons of money if we had preserved them, but I think that's okay. They're a card game, and I played with them a lot when I was a kid. So even if they don't have monetary value now, they still have quite a bit of sentimental value to me. So I thought just to kick things off, we could get started with these three. Now, I think in a much larger sense, we all started with these three, which, to remove any sense of illusion, the three I am referring to are the three starters. Now, Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. We're going to go into each one individually. The first one being Charmander. Now, I always liked Charmander. I think primarily because he was sort of like the cool Pokemon. He had a little bit of a tragic backstory in the show. They made a point of explaining that Charmanders were, very loyal, but also that the flame that came out of their tail, that if it was ever extinguished, they would die. And in the TV show, Ash's Charmander actually belonged to another trainer initially, who abandoned him. And so there's a very emotional scene where Ash is, running through the rain with Charmander under his coat, trying to protect him from, extinguishing his tail. From that day on, Charmander was always very loyal to Ash. And I always kind of liked that. I really like this card too, just because of the art, that if you, look there to the side, Charmander's accidentally lit on fire the grass behind him, which I always thought was kind of cute. He does have 2 attacks, Scratch and Ember, and oh gosh, for the life of me, I don't think I could tell you now how to play the Pokemon trading card game. But when I was a kid, I was pretty about it. So yeah, that's Charmander. Up next, I think we have, if not my favorite of the three starters, the one that I picked most consistently in the video game. We have Squirtle. And I always really like the art on this card. I don't don't know what he's standing on there. Those are rocks or some more bubbles, who knows. But Squirtle was probably the starter I picked when I played the video game most. So, it's a tiny turtle Pokemon. He also has 2 attacks. Bubble and Withdraw. Now, I also really liked in the show when they introduced Squirtle. He was the leader of the Squirtle Squad, which was a gang of rebellious young squirrels. And I don't think he's wearing them here, even if this one has them. But on the show, he wore little pointed glasses, just to prove he was a bad boy. But yeah, I always really liked Squirtle. Yeah. Moving on. We have last, but certainly not least, if all I had to do was eat and sleep, I'd be pretty happy. I don't know, I always wanted to catch the Snorlax in the video game, which, if you are unfamiliar, in the video game, the Snorlax would fall asleep and block your path, and you need to get the Poke Flute to awaken it, and so you really only had like one chance to catch him, because it was hard to come across them in the wild. And I think if you were smart, you would save the game before, waking up the Snorlax, but I was a child and never really got around to saving before, and so anytime I would come across the Snorlax, it was usually a traumatic affair. Up next, we have my brother's favorite card. I think, probably objectively, the rarest card in the collection. Here, we have a Machamp, a first edition holographic Machamp. And once again, it might be worth money if it, wasn't so damaged. You can really see kind of the scuffs and marks around the corners and on the back, but once again, just because we had so much fun playing with them when we were kids. But this is Machamp, and once again, it's got kind of a holographic finish on it, which I always thought was cool when I was a kid. I'm not really sure what's going on there in the background, but, kind of a cool card. He is Bio, so